Like my life.
I think we are almost live.
Oh, it says live on Facebook.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. It usually says it on my Zoom first, but here we go. There we go. All right. Hey, guys. Nice to see you. I'm so excited to have Erin and Natalie here. They are two of my favorite teachers, and they are going to tell you a little bit about themselves. And they are going to tell you about their careers and why they would bother having a side hustle on top of their career. So, Erin, I'm going to start with you. If you want to tell us a little bit about when you got into teaching and what you love about it, and then why you got into this business.
Sure. So funny story. I wanted to be a teacher all growing up, and I would play school with my friends, all that jazz. And then I got this wild idea that actually I was going to be the next Barbara Walters. So I started going to college my freshman year for communications. And then I realized I didn't want to leave Rochester where I live, and I probably wasn't going to be the next Barbara Walters living in Rochester. So I went back to my plan of being a teacher. So right out of school, I went to grad school right after school, and subbed for a year, and then got my first sixth grade teaching job in '07, and I've been teaching sixth grade since then.
Wow.
That's kind of how I got into the teaching world.
Wow. And hey, you know what? It's never too late to be Barbara Walters. So just make that your next chapter.
Well, that's why I love doing Facebook Lives, because I feel like that allows me to get that outlet of,
I love it so much. So tell me, obviously you have a passion for teaching and a passion for being around kids. Now, what would make you, when you've got a full-on career, what would make you be interested or like start having a side hustle, start a secondary job?
Yeah, well, it's no secret that you didn't say that I went into teaching to make all the money. So, teachers get great benefits. There's a lot of perks to teaching, and I absolutely love it. Love what I do. But clearly you don't go into it for the money. And so really the side hustle is an initial funny story. I got into it actually in grad school. It was my first direct sales, and it was because I wanted some free jewelry. Like, who doesn't want free jewelry?
Obviously.
And then, now that I'm like a real live adult, it helps. It pays the bills. I have a horse. Like, spoiler alert.
I want a horse.
You do?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Awesome.
Yeah, we could never afford it as a family growing up. I was never allowed. And now we moved up to the country, and I'm like, I kind of want to pick that up as a hobby with my daughter. So you'll be Barbara Walters and I'll be riding horseback.
That's perfect. Yeah, I have a crazy story actually of how, I won't get into it now, but how my horse, I had rescued a horse when I was student teaching from the racetrack. And it's just 3 years ago, he found his way back in my life, and I was about to get married. I was like, there's no way I can have a horse. And I accidentally got him back. And yeah, thank God for the side hustle, or I'd be living in a cardboard box and he'd be living the luxury life.
That's so funny. So basically, it's funny because different things motivate different people, right? And at that point in time, you were just like, I want this horseback that I have a relationship with that I miss. And like, you were willing to do anything to have that life with your horse.
Yeah. So having an online business it's the only thing that I could do. Like, I don't have time to waitress. I don't have time to bartend. That does not fit in my crazy life.
Of course. Cool. Well, Natalie, I'd also love to hear your story. Like, tell me how you got into teaching and why, and I want to hear a little bit from you before we go on.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like Erin. I mean, I've always just wanted to be a teacher. I knew since I was in first grade. So shout out to my first grade teacher. That's what I was like, that's what I want to do. And so I did that, went to school, did Teach for America, everything. But then like a lot of teachers, we get extra jobs, and even I put myself through school. So I worked anywhere from 35 jobs in college. And then I kept doing the same thing out of college because I realized what I was being paid was not covering the bills. And student loans and everything. And so I was already working multiple jobs, and I was burnt out from that. I was 25 and just like, I don't want this to be the rest of my life, working all the time. And I kept thinking, for me, it was, okay, well, when I have kids, I really want to be a stay-at-home mom, but I'm super independent, and I did not want to rely on my husband for like income and stuff like that. Like I want to be able to do things and not have to ask permission.
Like my horse.
Right. Exactly. And
3
I love
weeks after you get
traveling.
married.
And I wasn't
That's
even married yet, but I was like, whenever that day comes. And so, so yeah, that's kind of how like I fell in love with the product. And I had kind of done, I was like you, I did dabbled in direct sales in college, to get, you know, discounts on makeup and stuff like that, but I had no idea what I was doing. And then I got started in network marketing and I just kind of fell in love, and it's been such a huge blessing. And I was able to quit all my other jobs so I could just focus on teaching. And I literally feel like it made me a way better teacher because of all just the personal development and leadership development that we get. I was like implementing a lot of it into my classroom with my students. So I teach 5th grade now. And I love
never
it.
thought about it, how it would work the other way.
Yeah, it's totally like transferable both ways. And that's been huge for me and just like helped me to be more passionate about teaching, because I was kind of even losing my passion for teaching because I just felt like
Stressful, right?
I was just always, yeah, it was stressful and like everything was like data. And so it helped me to like be able to bring those things that I enjoy and that growth mindset and stuff like into the classroom with my students and not, you know, worry so much about the other stuff because I know there's more out there for them. So yeah, so I've been doing network marketing for over 5 years now, and it's been a huge blessing for me, just taking me on different paths. And I love traveling. So that was my thing. I don't have a horse. I love horses, but so in my free time now, because I don't have to go to jobs during the summer on weekends or anything, I travel whenever I can. So
well, isn't that a good point too, right?
splurge.
That you guys have all these great benefits and you get summers off, but you're paid less or you're not paid at all in the summer, right?
I'm not frozen for you guys.
Oh, that's okay. Well, I'm sure it'll come back, Natalie. But one of the things that and even if you can hear me, like you can still chime in. But there you are. But one of the things is like you guys get Christmas and spring break, and you have all of these kind of pockets in your year that you're maybe not getting paid as much, and so this can kind of fill in the gaps for you. It kind of works like that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like people are like, oh yeah, teachers, it's a breeze. You've got summers off and all that. But it's like, yeah, you also don't have a paycheck unless you can spread out your paycheck to cover the summer, but then you're getting less of a paycheck throughout the year. So a lot of times people forget about that. And, student loans, like Natalie brought up, like it's insane how disproportional it is for how much you have to pay to go to school to be a teacher to what your check is. Like my student loans are easily a car payment. Like it's crazy.
That's insane. And the other thing, we talk about this side hustle, this thing that we have on the side. And so often people are like, oh, I don't know about the money. I don't know about this. I don't know about that. Or like, I don't want to quit my job, right? People don't just get into this to replace their income. They get in to supplement their income because they love doing what they love doing. Maybe they've got a great hobby. Maybe they love their career, but they're not making enough money. And this doesn't have to be a replacement for everything. This just be an extra $500 a month that would make all the difference, right?
It's so true. For me, it got me out of credit card debt. Like I was in crazy credit card debt, and I had just gotten married probably 6 months prior to finding the company that I'm with now. And I was able to pay off my wedding and thousands of dollars of credit card debt in less than a year. Like I had a goal for a year and it was less than a year. I couldn't believe it because I didn't have that extra money with just my teaching to be paying. I was paying minimum payments to get, so the credit card companies weren't calling me.
Totally. We've all been there.
Yeah. Like hashtag real life. And I just didn't have, my teaching income was paying our bills. So it's like, it was such a blessing to be able to finally get out of that debt that was just that weight on my shoulders for so long.
Well, and I also think that what we don't consider when we're in school as students or in our early 20s, we don't really, let's be honest, we don't think a lot about credit card debt and we don't think a lot about school debt. And then we get out and we have a career that is not paying us top dollar. We have all of this credit card debt, all of the school debt, And then we're like, oh, wait, this is the sequence of life. We're supposed to buy a house, buy a car, get married, have kids. Well, if you don't have a way to pay off that debt, there's no way you're getting a mortgage. Like, you're going to be renting for the rest of your life. And that's not something that we talk about often as women. I love all three of us are independent women. And of course, we want to be able to stand on our own 2 feet. But we also don't want to come into a marriage as a liability. We want to come in as equal partners and be able to contribute to the family household and contribute to purchasing a house and have, a safe space for us. So Natalie, did you find that, like, when you came out of school trying to pay off debt and all that kind of stuff, like, this was something that really helped you fast forward and move on with life?
Oh yeah. Like, I think within a year, well, yeah, within a year, probably with being in the industry, maybe 2 years, I paid off all my student loan debt. And then, like, she was talking about wedding. I was like, I have no idea how I'm paying if I didn't have something else. And because my parents could only do so much, they definitely, there's 4 of us, so they weren't going to be able to rich. And so it paid for my entire wedding dress. Like, I earned the company, and then I was able to go on like a second honeymoon, since it was paid for the first time. So like, it was amazing how it all worked out. And then five weeks or a month after we got married, my husband said he wanted to quit his job so that he could focus on filmmaking. That was his dream. And that just like made me even more motivated, knowing that was. So we worked, and I was able to help him replace his income so that he could quit. And now he works, and he's just finished his first movie. And so that's just like, it brings choice into your life. And that's what inspires me to like help and tell that to other people, because I was tired of saying I can't afford things. Like, that was what I heard my whole life. And that's what I was saying all the time. I can't afford that. I can't do that. And now if I don't do something, it's because I choose not to pay for it. Like, I'm making that choice. I'd rather spend my money elsewhere. And so that is the freedom that it brought for us. And so
wow.
I would say
what an incredible story, because people wouldn't know that about you as a teacher, right? They wouldn't know that other side. And a lot like us, to be honest, Ryan and I had this conversation a couple of days ago, because he's been able to be a stay-at-home dad while we had our daughter. And now we are planting an orchard because we're going to be an estate cidery. My husband was a career bartender before this. And what group of people do you know in their 30s that can all of a sudden create an income, create jobs, go after their dream job, their passion, and follow it, and not only have a residual income to back that up, but also have the time freedom? Because there's no way any of this stuff, the orchard, anything would happen if he had a full-time job. Like, he just wouldn't have the time to do it. So it's so cool that this like bleeds into all aspects of our life, like whether we're teaching our kids, whether you're teaching your classroom, whether, we're empowering our family to dream bigger and have bigger aspirations and follow their passions. But the cool thing about that is that we are the models for our kids. So when we live powerfully, and when we live in purpose and follow our passions and show them that anything is possible, our kids like may not listen to everything that we say, but they're watching every single thing that we do, right? So we get to be the example. And that's what gets me so fired up, is that like, yeah, I'm a stay-at-home mom, a work from home mom, but I also get to show her what's possible.
Yeah, that's what always inspired me. And I don't know, Erin probably, like, I don't have kids yet, but that's what excites me for when I have kids, like to have them be a part of our entrepreneurial journeys and see that they can do more and have more if they want to.
It's so true. And on the vein of having kids, I'm expecting my first one in February. And
congrats.
Thank you. And another not so teaching perk is, yes, there's excellent benefits, but at least, I'm in New York. I don't know how everywhere is, but I'm going to get paid for 6 weeks of leave. That's it. And so
are you serious?
Yes. So I get paid for 6 weeks, no matter how many and that's using my sick days, but no matter how many I have, I can only use 6 weeks of sick days. So I cannot go back to work, 6 weeks after
I can't even believe that that's what that's like. We have a year. I was an entrepreneur before I had a baby, so I had $10,000 in savings, but because I didn't have mat leave, but we get a year.
No, 6 weeks paid. So luckily, without this, I would be going back after 6 weeks, because I carry our insurance. My husband's self-employed. Yep. So I carry our insurance, and, we need to be a 2-income household.
Yeah.
And that's most people's reality these days.
Yeah.
And, so I am thankfully for this, if it weren't for the side hustle, I would be sending my kid to daycare at 6 weeks old. But because of this, I'm able to stay home longer with her. So I'm
Oh
so
my God, that
excited.
just like made me so
It's-
teary because
yeah.
I know what that feels like. I actually got into network marketing when my daughter was 3 weeks old because I looked at her little face and I was like, there is no way I'm going back to work at 8 months. Like there's no, or even 6 months or I had clients that were like messaging me like, yeah, you just had a baby, but you can do my roots, right? Or you can do my extensions, right? And I'm just like, what?
No,
Like,
I can't.
no, and then all of a sudden life shifts and changes, and I'm so happy for you that you have that grace
Yes.
because that time is so priceless. We don't get time like that,
Right.
and I think that nowadays that people that are conscious of having that bonding time really really young with your child, and you're infusing them with knowledge and confidence and connecting with them. I know that sounds a little bit crazy as a baby, but it's so true.
So important.
So, well, thank you, ladies. That was really insightful. This was awesome. I'm so grateful that you guys had the time today to step up and come have a chat with us, because I know there's so many people out there, especially around the holidays, right? Like when you're not making enough money, the holidays gets really, really stressful. And it's really hard because you don't want to max out your credit cards, but you want to give your family, your friends, everybody you love, your partners, you want to give them everything that they want. But sometimes that like ends and it's really anxiety ridden because we're spending more than we make. So even having a little side hustle this time of year is really beneficial. And I'm just like, my brain is exploding with all of the reasons why people who live a life full of purpose and passion, but maybe aren't making the money, should have a side hustle. Like,
100%.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you want to lead? Like if you were going to talk to a teacher that maybe didn't know that this was an option for them, I'd love to hear from both of you what you would say just before we go.
I would just say, like, I was scared to hop in, and I was scared, I also had, I spent more, speaking of spending more than you made, I spent more than I made in my, I'm like, which way am I going? With my, last two companies. So I literally almost walked away from this because I was like, this obviously isn't for me. So it's like, just that idea, just don't give up. And it's like, because there's something out there for you. And, it's something most teachers have busy schedules. Like on top of teaching, I'm tutoring, I work at my horse's barn to, help out there, all the things. And, so like I said in the beginning, like I don't have time to work at the mall or, bartend or waitress or anything like that. This I do completely from my phone. Otherwise I never would be able to do it. So even like busy, mama teachers and any teachers are just straight up busy because that job doesn't end when you walk out of the classroom. It's just something it's the only thing that's doable because you literally can do it on the fly wherever you are. So I feel like sometimes people are scared to even think about it because like, I don't have the time. And it's like, you can, you
can, and then you can create more time with that space. Right. Exactly. And I think too, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a teacher here, and he said, he coaches, he travels with the team that he coaches, he marks papers, he comes up with the curriculum. Like there's so much that you guys do outside of that, like 8 to 3, right? There's way more to it. So if you have a little 15 minutes here and there that you can plug into a really simple system and plug other people in, it's so much easier to be able to create that extra income. Natalie, what is there something that you want to add to that, please? Sorry, you're a little bit, there's like a little bit of it. So we don't need to not hear from you, but go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, it's super windy here. It's crazy weather, so that's why. But I was just, what makes me think of is, if I know what I hear a lot is teachers who they love teaching, but because of everything that we have to do and that goes into it, you kind of do, like I kind of mentioned in the beginning, you kind of start losing that passion a little bit for it. And what I have found is, like I mentioned in the beginning, that just that transferable skill. So if you are kind of losing like that passion, or you're just like, I don't know if I want to be in the classroom forever, but you still love teaching, you still love educating, know that you can do that in this type of business like so well, and actually helps you, maybe gives you a little head of the curve because you can quickly, and then you can turn around and teach and educate, and it can even open up other possible streams of income through that. And this is just like your stepping stone and learning those skills. So that part I love, and because we're lifelong learners, so I just love that there's so much that we can learn. And this was something kind of a side note, but I actually just hopped on a training to learn more about like taxes and stuff. And I did not realize how tax benefits. And so even the accountant there, she was saying like, you're crazy if you don't have one, because you can save so much money on your taxes by having a home-based business, whether you do nothing with it or not. Just the fact that you can say, I have this, and you can show that you work 5 hours a week on it. There's so many tax breaks that I like with the holidays coming up and taxes are coming up. I thought that might be worth sharing, because that I was like, I told Scott, I'm like, I'm going to take advantage of all this stuff come this tax season.
Yeah, you can write off so much. People don't understand that you can write off like your home internet bill. You can write off your home phone or your cell phone. You can write off, some of your vehicles, some of your mortgage insurance, some of your mortgage interest. You can write off all, or rental income, right? Like you can write off all of that stuff under home business and be able to claim it. And the thing that got me, because like you, Natalie, I like to travel. If we're an international country or company and we have countries that we have and we travel to, we can also write off the travel to that country, which that for me was like, oh my God, sign me up. I'm totally in. Like if I can write off my travel, I'm all in.
Yeah, exactly. I've been very kind of smart about that part of like, where am I traveling to? Can I write this off? So except for I went to Greece and that didn't really count, but still.
That's okay. You got a big, long life ahead of you for that. So don't worry. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for taking the time today to hop on here with me. It means so much. I'll definitely connect with you again, because you guys were so insightful. And I truly believe I was a hairstylist, but I truly believe that teachers and nurses make the best side hustlers, like seriously, because they have kind of different schedules. They are very good at educating. They care a ton about people. Like they have all the people skills that you need. And like you said, that personal development that you do in this business to become a better business owner, a better leader, all that kind of stuff, that's transferable into everyday life. I mean, I even say that it transfers into my marriage. Okay. So even if you're teaching kids, exactly. Your communication becomes a lot better. So thank you again so much for coming, and we'll talk to you guys both really soon.
This was fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.